Coming up on UCF Nightly News, one student appealed to the Board of Trustees to get cameras in garages. Nightly News reporter Maria Laporto tells us what emergency management officials say they plan to do.
And sexual assault reports are on the rise at UCF. Find out what the university plans to do to keep students safe at the new downtown campus.
And a futuristic train could be coming to the Orlando area. We'll tell you where it will go.
You're watching Nightly News covering the university community and the greater Orlando area.
Nightly News starts now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Allison Henning.
And I'm Jasmine Hagerson. Today is Friday, April 3rd. Nightly News was on the scene of a drive-by shooting that happened just last night behind the Marquee Apartments. Police are still looking for suspects who they say shot two black men. The victims are now in stable condition at Orlando Regional Medical Center. Orange County Sheriff officials say they are working closely with UCF PD to monitor the situation in the area.
We use them as a resource and vice versa. What we always do is we identify crime areas and we do specific patrols in that crime area. And we've noticed that we do have some crimes here. We have upped the manning of our deputies in this area.
Some students living in the area say they don't feel safe.
And on a lighter note, the 2015 SGA presidential election is over and we have a winner. Kate Zona and Jarrell Jones are the new student body president and vice president. The black and gold ticket won a little more than 63% of the overall vote. And President-elect Zona says the no pizza rule helped to get information out in an election she put her heart into.
The Senate bill did work out for the best. We had more knowledgeable voters. I saw a lot of people going back and forth between people, so I'm really happy about that. And obviously my first thought was to turn and hug Jarrell, and now I'm cut by it. So definitely put my blood, sweat, and tears into this election.
And Vice President-elect Jarrell Jones says it's a relief the crazy campaign season is over.
It's been going since January, so it's been the constant thought of like what else, like hypotheticals, and now it's actually like it's over. Like we won, and now we're just ready to do what we told everyone we wanted to do.
Brian Zagraki and Alex Bennett finished with roughly 28% of the vote, and Richard Stein and Mobar Hamji ended up with a little over 8%. In our second half hour, we'll have Kate and Jarrell in the studio to talk about what's next.
The UCF Police Department just released a sketch of a suspect involved in an indecent exposure incident. The department is asking for the public's help in identifying the man. The suspect is facing a battery charge after exposing himself to a woman in Garage D.
And speaking of parking garages, one UCF student who fell victim to car theft and vandalism in January is pushing to get cameras installed in the parking garages. Nightly News reporter Maria Laporto is live from Parking Garage H. Maria, what do we know about the progress this student has made?
Well, Allison, with SGA elections wrapping up, Ryan McKinney hopes that new leadership will better allow his voice to be heard. He's made a journey to help prevent crime across campus, but he says it hasn't been easy.
As a freshman, Ryan McKinney has already fallen victim to campus crime. In January, his car was broken into in Parking Garage E. He believes security cameras could have helped his situation. McKinney started a petition with over 1,200 signatures supporting the need for a project like this.
I emailed the student government president first, considering I wasn't able to set up an official meeting with the Board of Trustees, but I feel like he might have told them about the petition beforehand.
But UCF police officer Peter Stevens says that installing cameras would be a long process.
The infrastructure is not in place to support them right now. It would be a massive undertaking, especially with our 10 different garages, to have to go through and install cameras.
Officials in the Office of Emergency Management say the project could cost upwards of $5 million, and it takes months, even years, to get the garages up to shape. For now, McKinney hopes that new leadership in SGA will be able to help students' voices be heard.
This isn't just happening to me, this is happening to tons of other people. And I just feel like if they force this issue enough, they'll be able to successfully get it passed.
Even so, Officer Stevens says that only a few garages as of now have the right conditions to even consider the installation of cameras.
The mounting and installation of cameras in garages can be tricky as well due to the low beams and the lighting conditions. The good news is that most of our garages that are being built now and have been retrofitted are going with the LED lighting, which is extremely good for visibility.
Right now, there's no timetable or plan of how long a project like this could take. So far, the Board of Trustees are only investigating the possibility of installing cameras. But McKinney urges students that if they need to be persistent if they have faced similar problems or want their voice to be heard. Reporting live from Garage H, Marie Laporto, UCF Nightly News. Back to you, Jasmine and Allison.
Thanks, Maria. UCF police advise students to stay aware of their surroundings whenever they're out and about. Students can use the SEP service every night from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. if they would like police to escort them to their car.
And there may not be space for new security at the East Orlando campus, but safety is a concern for the coming downtown campus. Between 2011 and 2013, the number of sexual assaults across UCF campuses more than doubled. This week, I looked into how UCF plans to keep students safe on its new campus. UCF's annual crime report shows that over the past 3 years, reports of one crime keeps going up: sexual assault. In 2013, there were 11 reported forcible rapes, also called aggravated sexual assault. In 2014, there were 14. This is Portia Monfort and Shauna Abbott. They're with Never Stand Alone, a nonprofit organization that supports sexual assault victims. Monfort is a UCF student and says being on campus at night worries her.
It's really dark and no one's out there, and though the police station's not too far from one of our buildings, I don't know, I don't feel safe.
In about 2 years, this will be the home of UCF's downtown campus. And UCF police say that there are already plans in place to make sure that this one is as safe as possible. UCF has already formed committees with Valencia College's security and Orlando police so that safety isn't an afterthought. UCF Deputy Chief Carl Metzger says safety is the #1 priority downtown, especially in dorms.
There will be at least 4 layers of security to get through, to get into the dorms. If you start from the outside area going in, it's going to be impossible for someone who doesn't belong to get in.
Metzger assures that the campus will be well staffed with security. He says that with their plans in place, he's sure that students will be secure.
As the father of a college-age daughter, based on the plans that we have in place, and once they are implemented, I would be very confident in sending her to the downtown campus. Absolutely.
Now, Metzger also says that victim services and SEPs will be available at the new campus. Now, I can tell you one thing, Allison. It was fun shooting that story, but it was hot out there.
Yeah, but luckily this week it's looking a lot nicer outside. Now, Vanessa joins us for our live first forecast. Vanessa, how's it looking outside?
Thanks, Allison. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. I'm right outside of our studios just to give you a look at what a lovely day it is with 0% chance of rain. Now, the humidity is at 76%, but overall, it's a great day to be outside. We're currently at 86 degrees with some light south winds of 5 miles per hour, but I have been tracking some severe weather, and I will tell you more about that later on in our detailed forecast. Jasmine, Allison, back to you.
Thanks, Vanessa. Coming up, the Orange County Fire Chief is calling for more stations. Kelsey Walker will tell us how he plans to make this happen.
And Orlando International Airport wants to keep the TSA. Find out when and why these decisions will be made next. The Orlando area has added a new performing arts center and a commuter train in just this past year. But could a levitating train be next? Nightly News reporter Charles Baber found out who could benefit from this train if it is built.
Tourist and convention goers could soon have an alternative way to get to International Drive. And it's like nothing seen in America before. A train that levitates off its track using magnets would be only the fourth of its kind in the entire world. It would be a faster alternative to get from Orlando International Airport to International Drive.
If the train's built, it'll be built on this empty land next to State Road 528, bypassing tolls and traffic.
A ticket on the train would cost $13 compared to $36 in a Mears cab. Tourist Nightly News talked to said they'd use the train if it was an option.
I'd imagine it'd be 4 or 5 stops and you know exactly where you're going, coming to Orlando and then on your way back to the airport, straight on again, and the times, you'd know the time, the schedule and all. It'd be easy, as simple as pie, really.
The CEO of American Maglev Technologies spoke to Nightly News over the phone.
And we're excited to bring new green high technology and jobs to Central Florida, and we think that this is a great opportunity to bring the world to Central Florida to see what transportation is going to look like in this 21st century.
And the levitating train could be the answer for connecting Sunrail to the airport. Plans show the train would connect with Sunrail in a new airport station. Reporting along International Drive, Charles Baber, UCF Nightly News.
American Maglev Technologies will get 2 train cars to test by next summer, but ground hasn't broken yet and the project won't be done until July 2017.
Orlando International Airport officials decided Monday that a private security company will not replace the TSA. Instead, the TSA must meet a new series of performance standards, including moving passengers more efficiently through security lines. The OIA Director of Public Affairs, Carolyn Fennell, says these conditions are aimed at improving day-to-day air travel.
What we've trademarked as the Orlando experience, that it is courteous, safe, secure, and that it reflects the kind of experience we want passengers to have.
One of the proposed suggestions is to improve maximum wait time in pre-check lines. The goal is to make the wait time 5 minutes in off-peak seasons and 10 minutes in peak seasons. The board will make its final decision in mid-April.
The numbers are in, and Central Florida is number 1. Number 1 in adding new jobs, that is. Governor Scott announced last week that over the past year, the Orlando metro area added more new jobs than any other area in the state. The unemployment rate in Orange County fell from 6.1% to 5.2% in February. Central Florida also ranked second in the state for new jobs in STEM fields with more than 9,000 new openings. And the continuous growth of the UCF area is making it harder for local fire stations to cover the area. Nightly News reporter Kelsey Walker found out what Orange County plans to do to improve coverage.
The Orange County Fire Department received over 3,100 calls just last year. The fire chief is now asking for 3 more stations in the next 5 years. Right here at the corner of Dean Road and Winder Trail is where you can see the first station will go up if the plans are approved.
Orange County Fire Chief Otto Drodes proposed the new stations to the Orange County Commission last week.
It's entirely possible that we could see some movement within the next year.
The county's report shows a 13% increase in travel times for the station since 2008. This is due to the growing population of UCF and the surrounding area. If approved, Drodes says the new stations will help eliminate the gaps and reduce the response times the local fire stations are now facing.
Orange County is slated to be one of the fastest growing counties over the next 20 years. So really, instead of being reactive to the growth, we want to be put in a position to be proactive.
Along with the proposed station at Dean and Winder, the chief says local residents could see a second near the Waterford Lakes and Avalon Park area, as well as another near Goldenrod and Lake Underhill. Drodes says the new stations will provide much-needed help as well as new jobs to Orange County. Each station will employ 25 to 30 firefighters, which means more safety for the university. UCF sophomore Grant Hodgins says he likes the idea of having more stations around campus.
Definitely safer, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't feel safer with more firefighters or medics around?
The fire chief says his proposal for the new stations is currently in the budget process. However, each station will cost around $6 million. In Orlando, Kelsey Walker, UCF Nightly News.
The fire chief says there's more work to do before plans are approved, but they do already own the land for the first proposed station. Now, I don't know about you, Allison, but I would not want to be out there right now in that heat building a fire station.
No, definitely not. But now Vanessa is joining us for our full forecast, and hopefully she's going to tell us it's going to be getting a little cooler. Vanessa?
Thanks, Allison. Right now it's about 84 degrees. The humidity is at 46%. The winds south 5 miles per hour and a 0% chance of rain out there. It's absolutely gorgeous. I was just out there. On to our next map. Right now, Tallahassee is at 82%, so all over the state, we're seeing everybody's in the 80s. Tampa's at 86, Orlando is at 84, and then Miami is at 80, which surprisingly, usually it's the highest temperature, and we're seeing the lowest temperature in the state right now. On to our next map. Right now, we're seeing Florida down here. Florida down here, it's the weather's great. Up towards the west, we're seeing California. It's very hot. They have a drought. But down here in Florida, we're fine with the weather. I mean, it's great. It's warm. It's a great day to be outside. Now, there are going to be some more percentages of rain, and I'll tell you more about that later. On to our next map. Right here, we have some currents here, and we have some currents going on here in Florida. And then the National Weather Service has also issued actually a warning for Missouri and Kansas, as they may be experiencing some tornadoes. On to the next map. Back to you, Jasmine and Allison. Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa. After the break, Chad Irwin tells us the top stories around the country.
And the world's largest sperm bank is actually opening up right around campus. Details on that and more next.
College of Sciences Dean Michael Johnson sent an email this week announcing the resignation of Robert Chandler, the director of the Nicholson School of Communication. Johnson appointed Arlen Chase as acting director. A national search for a replacement will begin soon.
UCF recently renewed President John C. Hitt's contract, and now he's making history for the Knight Nation. On April 23rd, President Hitt will receive the Historical Society of Central Florida's 2015 John Young History Maker Award. The award is named after hometown astronaut Captain John Young. This is the highest honor given to a Central Floridian whose lifetime of achievement made historic impact in the community. In his 23 years as UCF's president, Hitt has led the school to triple its enrollment, making it the second largest university in the nation. And the world's largest sperm bank is now located just a few minutes away from UCF. Cryos International recently moved its U.S. headquarters from Manhattan to Orlando at the corner of Alafaya Trail and Challenger Parkway. Vice President Angel Tillis says the company chose Orlando because it is a growing medical city with a large university population.
We strategically put our location right on the outskirts of Research Park across from UCF to be able to get donor candidates. So with 60,000 plus students on campus, the donor candidate population is huge.
Cryos opens its doors this Monday. Interested candidates must be healthy males from ages 18 to 39 and 5'9" or taller. If approved, donors can make up to $800 a month.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that their national headquarters are right in our backyard. Sometimes we kind of forget how big UCF really is.
We are really the second largest university in the nation, and that's just crazy to me sometimes. But speaking of the nation, Chad Irwin joins us and tells us what's going on around the country. Chad?
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, after over a week of negotiations between the six world powers and Iran, negotiators reached an interim agreement on the principles for dismantling Iran's nuclear program. Iran agreed on those principles in exchange for lifting heavy economic sanctions. President Obama called it a historic understanding with Iran, which, if fully implemented, will prevent the country from obtaining a nuclear weapon. And while we're experiencing beautiful weather here in sunny Central Florida, California is imposing its very first mandatory water restriction. Due to a 4-year drought, Governor Jerry Brown issued an executive order directing the State Water Resource Control Board to enforce a 25% reduction on the state water supplies. The order also tells authorities to increase costs for heavy water users. And prosecutors in the Germanwings crash revealed the co-pilot, Andreas Lubitz, was searching for suicide information in the days leading up to the crash. Investigators found an iPad belonging to Lubitz, which contained his search history from March 16th to the 23rd. It shows he was searching for medical treatments as well as ways to commit suicide. 3 Americans were on board that flight. That's all the time we have for national news. Back to Jasmine and Allison.
Thanks, Chad.
And now after the break, Bree McNaught will take us inside a sports club team here at UCF. Stay with us.
What up, Knight fans? I'm Brie McNaught, and this is your UCF Sports Update. It was Dollar Dog Night at J. Bergman Field on Tuesday, which is actually my least favorite night because I cannot stand the smell of hot dogs. But apparently the fans loved hot dogs because it was the third largest crowd of the season. Look at that hot dog race. That Mustard was trying to catch up, but the hot dog takes the win. As for the Knights, they took on number 22 FAU Owls, but came up short of a win. The Knights couldn't seem to find their swing until it was too late. The Owls won 11-5. UCF is now in Cincinnati for their first American Conference away series. The Knights fell to the Bearcats 4-1 last night, but tonight's game has its first pitch at 6 p.m. The past couple of weeks we told you about UCF's bowling club and the rugby teams, but did you know you were helping these athletes pursue a sport they love? These guys have played lacrosse for most of their lives. They say it can be a great stress reliever from their hectic college lives.
You come out here, everything's dropped, you're focused on lacrosse, you got your friends out here, your pals.
And they wouldn't be able to practice on these fields if it weren't for student fees. The Sports Club Council is given $240,000 a year to distribute between 42 different teams like this one. That might sound like a lot of money, but in reality, it usually only covers the league fees. Men's lacrosse president Antonio Lagori says his team still has plenty to come up with.
With SCC's money, we pay our league dues, which is roughly takes up pretty much the whole entire allocation that they gave us. So with the rest, we have to come up with money to pay for uniforms, hotels, buses and vans for travel.
Jordan Pouchet, president of the SCC, says even though teams cover some of the cost, they wouldn't be able to play without the extra help.
It would be too much of a financial burden for most of these students to be able to fund the sports themselves based on the amount that the activity and service fee helps their club along.
An impressive 20 sports club teams have gone or will go to nationals. That's not counting the 5 teams that are still in season. As for the men's lacrosse team, they say they are ready for the playoffs.
We're just ready to go and ball out.
That's all we have for tonight, guys. For the next half hour, we're going to have Kate and Jarrell in the studio, so stay tuned.